So, how excited is everyone about the future? Now, when I say future, I'm not talking next week I'm working on some legacy application. Hell no. I'm working on a shit-hot greenfield application that's going to be rolled out to millions of users. Hi, I'm Luke Belfield, I'm from Trainline, and today I'm going to be speaking about augmented reality using React Web AR. So, why augmented reality? There's a plethora of reasons as to why we as devs should be investing in augmented reality. Here's one, to simplify a user's life. So, wow. This is IKEA's AR app that allows you to drop furniture into your own home. And it's tech like this that wows us, that we need to embrace, innovate, and create to wow our customers. Apps like this have a clear sense of purpose. It simplifies so that the user can visualize. So no longer does a user need to go on a website and guess what this kind of product looks like in their home. They can literally just use this app and fire it off like that. So let's compare this to how our parents used to do it. Well, they'd have to drive all the way to the furniture store, pick up a catalog, drive all the way back from the furniture store, use the catalog as like something and go in the room and say, honey, does this go with the drapes? Then they need to drive all the way back to the furniture store, place the order, come back, and wait for 2 weeks delivery. I mean, that's insane, so inefficient. So how have we kind of changed this now? Well, yes, we've got rid of the to and from the store, but we've also got rid of the delivery as well. But we're still doing the most inefficient part. We're still guessing what this product looks like. And as a result, the user may not buy the product that they want. With augmented reality, we're one step closer to getting the product without it physically being there. And as a result, all the big tech giants are clocking onto this. Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, gave a 22-minute keynote speech at F8 in 2017 solely on augmented reality. That speaks volumes about how seriously Facebook are taking augmented reality. In it, he said Facebook will be making the camera the first augmented reality platform. Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, said AR will change everything. That's a hugely bold statement coming from a man of his stature. Google Maps will be rolling out an AR version 2. So instead of the user navigating from point A to point B using a map, they can simply enable their camera and using Street View, use a checkpoint-like system. So how many of us have done this, maybe even today? You get out of the tube, and you're not too sure where you are. So you kind of rely on this blue dot, and you're kind of circling, and you're just not too sure where you are. Well, in this new case, you literally enable your camera, and in Street View tells you where all the checkpoints are, and you can then turn left, or turn right in this case, rather. So I've gone over the why of augmented reality. What about the what? Well, I'm going to kind of skim over this quite quickly because obviously we're a techie audience here, but the word augment means to change. So it literally means change reality. Augmented reality renders a layer over the real world as well. But this is a key point. It will change how we interact with our data. So objects in the real world and the real world itself will just have this extra information over the top of it. So what's the difference between virtual reality and augmented reality? Well, you can pull it down to this one simple thing. Virtual reality is when the developer controls the environment. This means the developer creates whole worlds of 3D objects that the user can see and interact with. Augmented reality, on the other hand, is when the user controls the environment. So it's got a slightly different use case. So it needs to be more like susceptible to the environment, for example, lighting. And let's hope that the demo doesn't mess up there. But the key point that I want to kind of take from this slide is that in some augmented reality frameworks, they actually work alongside virtual reality. So what are the different types of virtual reality in that case? Well, I'm going to just talk about one because I'm at a kind of React meetup here where, learning about JavaScript and stuff. So this is WebVR. WebVR is a way of creating virtual reality using JavaScript. Now, this is the key point. With WebVR, all that you need is a browser and a camera. That's insane. That makes it accessible to developers like me and everyone else who don't want to, who don't want to go into an exorbitantly priced device that may be obsolete in the next few months. They can literally use what they've got. So I can use my 2-year-old MacBook or my 3-year-old Android device, which comes to another point. It's cross-platform, incredibly accessible. But just because we're not using the latest and greatest device doesn't mean that it's not powerful. It can render at 60 frames per second. That's incredibly quick. So I went over the type of virtual reality. What are the different types of augmented reality? Well, there's 4. So the first one is Markerless AR, also known as location-based AR, or geolocation-based AR, either one. So this is when the user controls the environment via their location. An example of this would be the Google Maps one that I showed, or Pokemon Go, an app. Don't worry, it's not real. I saw your face, I was insane. Yeah, so AR, so Pokemon Go is an app like synonymous with augmented reality right now, and this is a classic example. The second type of augmented reality is projection-based AR. This is when you rely on a projector to project artificial light onto some object, or thin air, in the case of a hologram. So this is a lot less widely adopted currently. I mean, you've got Tupac at Coachella, and you've got a bunch of events, in the buildings and stuff. So you have that, but the infrastructure isn't quite there for us to be using this at our homes. But here I have an example of a projector projecting artificial light onto someone's hand, and it's a mobile phone. So literally, you press the buttons and it will call someone. Pretty sweet, right? But that's less purposeful. Let's get something a bit more purposeful that could happen further down the line. For example, imagine that you're a surgeon and you're about to operate on a patient, and you all want to see exactly the same thing in real time. Well, if the projection projects where to make the incision and labels all the different organs and data that's coming through, that would be incredibly useful. The third type of augmented reality is superimposition-based AR. And this is a type of augmented reality that we're all used to. This is the Facebook filters, the Snapchat filters, the IKEA AR app, the stickers that you get on your Pixel. So here's, for example, Donald Trump puking some rainbows. The final type of AR, and this is what I'm going to be demoing in my project today, is marker-based AR. This relies on like a hard-coded static marker like this that we will drop into our project. So here you can see there's a black border, and inside the border we have our white, pattern, which is kind of white with this label here, hero. And this is like the kind of the default for any AR marker, the hero image. So, for example, here is a few 3D fighters fighting around that. So before I get into my project, what are some of the dependencies of my project? So I have 3D objects that I'll need to create. I can create that using WebGL. But the problem with WebGL for someone like me who's never actually used it is that it's quite complex. For example, to create a scene which is like a container where you drop in your XYZ plane, your camera, your lighting, your 3D objects, your 2D objects, it's a lot of boilerplate code. And this is as well using JavaScript too. So they created a wrapper around WebGL called 3JS. 3JS is more designed for the 3D objects, so it's much simpler, and the documentation is really, really good as well. So this would be a very good option. But the 3D object framework that I'm going to choose is A-Frame, and as I said, this is WebVR. Now, as I touched on before, WebVR is incredibly accessible. That's like its main point. A-Frame uses HTML rather than JavaScript. That's insane. So that means like a developer like myself, I don't really need to go around creating all of these objects. I can delegate that off to a designer who will potentially do a better job with maybe some of the lighting and all that kind of stuff too. So A-Frame is what I'm going to be using. I'll also be pulling in some AR frameworks as well. So I've got AR.js, which is actually a wrapper around AR Toolkit, but don't worry about that. And this will enable me to use something like A-Frame. It will allow me to create my marker using an AR generator. And it will also allow me to, create the camera and stuff. So I'm actually going to use something called React Web AR, which is a wrapper around AR.js, a lot of wrappers. So yeah, that very, very simple will allow me to just use all the React goodness from AR.js. So getting into my projects, well, as we can see in this indexed HTML, and can everyone see this at the back? Are we all good? Yeah? Getting nods, that's sweet. So first of all, I'm going to be pulling in A-frame, and I'm going to be pulling in AR.js. Unfortunately, this is the way that you have to pull in your dependencies. It's not very good, or just these two main ones anyway. Then in my entry point, I'm just going to render this app component, and this app component is going to render this hero component. Now, I understand that's probably not the best structure, but that's just how I've done it for this talk, because it allows me to just demo it a bit easier. But that's the structure of it. I've also got a node server running in the background, but we don't need to worry about that. So that's it. Like, I want to show you how simple this kind of stuff is. So I'm going to be talking about the components in this folder here. So here we've got our hero.js, which uses A-frame renderer, and it's using AR toolkit, and it's specifying that we want a camera. We're then going to take our marker, which is the default hero image, and once the device picks up this marker, it's going to render a blue box, and it's going to have an opacity of 1, and then it's going to give it an animation of a rotation on the x-axis. So let's give it a go. And I am praying to the demo gods that this is all good. Ah, damn it. Pull this down. Sweet. And then do that. And then hopefully, whoa, that's awesome. Love it. There we get our blue box. So yeah, oh, thanks guys. Thanks guys, very kind of you. Hopefully I'll be able to wow you a little bit more. So that's the first one. So, I mean, that's cool, right? But there's no purpose to that whatsoever. I mean, let's face it, it's a blue box. So exactly the same kind of structure as I did before. So this time we've got this earth component. So this earth component, again, it's using A-frame renderer, using a camera, using AR toolkit. It's then using the marker as a hero image. And then it's pulling in this earth image here, which is just a link to this earth PNG, which is just a map. Then here we've got a sphere that is going to kind of decorate it with the earth image. And then again, we're going to give it an animation of a rotation on the x-axis. Now, could I have a volunteer from the crowd, please? All at once? Thank you, sir. Yes. Everyone, give this guy a round of applause. What's your name? Jacob. Jacob. Everyone, Jacob. Thank you, you're very brave. So, what I'm going to do now, or try to do, is work this on my phone to prove that this is cross-platform. So fingers crossed. There's a lot that can go wrong here, but you know. I'm sure with Jacob's help we'll all be good, right? Yeah. So cool, we are good, it looks like. So I'm just going to get this up here. Awesome. So while we're waiting, wait, it's not live. Too early, Luke, too early. So hopefully, if we make this full screen and kill this. Sweet, there we go. So hopefully now, Jacob, everyone's, yeah. Is anyone sleeping? Can I see anyone sleeping? No, I don't think I can. Damn it. It's probably a good thing, right? So hopefully when I point this at Jacob, we get our Earth image. So as I said before, it's a bit, it's not great with light sometimes, so maybe try stepping this way. Ah, lovely. And there we go. There is our Earth image spinning. You're holding the world, Jacob. How do you feel? Yeah, play around with it, you know. Tiff it, tilt it, yeah? Sweet. Thank you very much, Jacob. Everyone give Jacob a round of applause. Thank you. Thanks, Jacob. Thank you very much. Very brave. Sweet. So that went well. That was a tough one. So thank you, demo gods. You've served me well so far. Let's keep that up. Sweet. So now, so far I've kind of demoed the hero marker, but what if we were to create our own marker using an AR.js generator? I mean, that would be pretty sweet, right? And this is where we start to get a little bit more purposeful. So I'm going to quickly speak about the pat file and what's going on here. So as we can see, we have our black border, and there we have our pattern inside it, which is a bee. So when you upload that bee, that white bee, you then get this pat file generated, which is this, right? So as we can see, this uses our RGB decimals. So, and as you know, sorry, you don't know this, but this is always a square as well. So the first 16, we've got 16 by 16 grid here. That would be the reds, that would be the blue, and that would be the green. So obviously here we've got 255, which is Y, we've got 255 there, which is Y, and then here we've got 255 as well. You get the point, and 0, we've got obviously black as well. And then it rotates them as well, just scrolling it down, you get the point, right? So this is now within my project. So rather than specifying my marker as being the hero image, what I do is I specify the one that I've linked to up here. So again, we're using A-frame renderer to set up our camera. We're putting in the marker, and we are going to use this train ticket pat file because I'm from Trainline. Shameless plug. Agreed. And then here we have this journey summary image, which is just this PNG there. And then likewise, we're going to, the same way that we did for our Earth image, we're just going to render a box, but then we're going to apply that image on top of it. So, shameless plug time. Let's do this. This is my marker. Now imagine that you're a Trainline user, and you're running a little bit late, and you're going from Hastings to London Charing Cross, right? You're running a little bit late, and you notice there's this new thing in your Trainline app. So, you know, it's the AR kind of stuff. That's pretty sweet, right? So you enable your camera, and you hover over your ticket to see where your train is, because it's slightly delayed, and you want to kind of know when you're going to get to your destination. So when you show it, you then get your journey summary. So, oh man, lighting issues, not serving me well. So as you can see, we are traveling from Hastings. We're currently in battle, and we're going to London Charing Cross. We're currently 3 minutes behind schedule, but hopefully we'll make that up by the time we get to Sevenoaks, if what Trainline predicts is true, and then we should make Charing Cross on time. Sweet. So, guys, you're a great crowd. Thank you very much. You're really nice. So, I mean, that's cool, okay. But I reckon we can step this up just a little bit more, because with A-frame, we can handle on-click events. So imagine that we start migrating some of the app across to this. I mean, that would be pretty sweet, right? Could I have another volunteer, please? Come on, won't bite. Thank you, Ellie. I actually work with Ellie. She's incredible. Everyone give her a round of applause. She actually shot me in the head with a Nerf gun. So you need to make. I was walking to a meeting. I'm not even in a team. I'm like, right from behind. Not cool at all, Ellie. So you need to make this up to me. So if I run this, I think we're good on the lighting. Actually, if I rotate it that way. So let me set the scene. So you're a Trainline user traveling from York to Manchester, and you're going to see your friend, Teddy. And Teddy, he's a really good mate, Teddy. He's a good guy. Anyway, so you click on the Trainline app, and again, you see this new AR kind of feature that you can add. So let's give it a go. So if you want to come a little bit closer, and then a bit more to the left, right, maybe? Yep, cool. I can just do this, can't I? Lighting issues, god damn you. Sweet, so if you click on, sweet. So if you click on this information button, you get Mr. Bean. You've seen Teddy, right? And you can then get all of your user's information. So you can see he's got senior rail cards, you can see his age and stuff. And then you click on this Trainline button, and then you've got, you know, where your tickets is. And then you click on the ticket, and then boom, out pops your journey summary. So yeah, it's a little bit, yeah. I think it's this screen behind. Yeah. Sweet, that seems to work. I'll just hold this there. So yeah, yeah, we migrated some of the Trainline app across to, yeah, it's not actually going to happen. Not yet, anyway. So yeah, everyone give Ellie a big round of applause. Thank you very much, Ellie. Thank you. Good, thanks. So, what have we learned? So with augmented reality, us as developers have a responsibility to try getting, as, tooled up with this kind of stuff as quickly as possible, because when the big giants are investing so much time, money, and resources into it, we should be doing that too. We should be trying this stuff out, And yes, maybe it has a marker on it, but it's a great gateway into augmented reality. Let's wow our customers. Let's embrace, create, and innovate to wow them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Luke. That was great. Does anyone have any questions?
So the question was, is there any equivalent to React Native? So what I demoed there was, it was all using a browser. It was using WebVR. So we don't actually have that much of a need to migrate that. But there must be something equivalent to it. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, the key thing about that was really nice is that when some users, you have to download apps, you have to download all these different kind of stuff. With this, it's just, all that you need is a browser and a camera. And that's what makes like A-Frame and WebVR so powerful. Thanks for your question. Any other questions?
I was just wondering which API you're looking up to aggregate the actual real-time training data.
So the question was, a bit awkward here. So the question was, what API am I using to hook up to, what Trainline API am I using? So there is an API that's in a different team. I know this will mean nothing to you. It's like a root master one. I'm not actually hooking any of that up. Those are just static images embedded into my project. So the idea is that once you start creating this more and more, like you could potentially do something like that. But obviously, this is just a kind of a demo that Trainline aren't really gonna use just yet. So yeah, so yeah, not as good as it potentially could be. Yeah, that's definitely a potential to grow. Yeah, definitely, absolutely. And it's something that I was actually kind of experimenting with. We did have an AR hackathon at Trainline. Yeah, we did. Unfortunately, mine didn't quite make the cut. It was more to do with, I don't know if actually I can say this. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. But it was, yeah, exactly. It's a good reason, but yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, in terms of the markers that you scan, what kind of restrictions do you have around those? I mean, could you have several similar train tickets? Or?
Yeah, you can totally have that. So as I said before, the way this actually works, I mean, I'm no expert on this, but the device will pick it up. And the way it will pick it up is it will look for a black border. That's what it looks for. Once it's got a black border, it will then resolve the white stuff inside it. So like so So the 255 to 255, 255. And then once it does that, it can then do the pattern on top of that. So yeah, it definitely can do that sort of stuff. I don't know whether it quite has the detail to read the tickets, but for that, I mean, the idea of this is that this stuff is incredibly simple, and it's a great gateway into the whole AR world. If you were properly using train tickets, you'd probably want to use superimposed AR, because that object recognition would be more applicable. So with the markers here, you've got to have this black border around it. But as I say, like it's such a good thing to get. Like there's so many terms, like and all this kind of jargon that you may not quite pick up as quickly as if you went straight into superimposition-based AR. So yeah. Thank you.
Thanks. If you wanted to get data specifically related to that ticket, have you considered something like a QR code on the ticket itself rather than trying to do optical character recognition to like read it?
Yes, you definitely can do that. Okay. That is something you can do. Yeah, I haven't actually, I don't know how much I can say. Okay. But yes, that's definitely something you can do, and that's a great question.
Coming soon, to be continued.
Exactly, thank you, Jacob.
Is there any more questions? No. Thank you so much, Luke. Okay, we've got a 10-minute break before our next speaker, so feel free to get more pizza and beer.
Thanks, guys.